What's going on, everybody? Rob here to do the final part 2 of my best of 2018 finally. This will be the top 15 albums I personally liked of 2018. There were so many. I mean, there's so many this year. There were so many great albums. Probably could have done up, top 50, top 80, really. I mean, there's very few albums that I put to the side were like, yeah, it was alright. And a lot of these ones in the top are from the old guys. The guys have been around forever. Just some phenomenal releases this year. I got a couple honorable mentions, as I did in the first video, just albums I think that should be mentioned for this year. Been a long weekend. Lost power. We had a storm here. It wasn't so much the snow, it was all the trees falling down. It was taking out transformers and lines, so we had about 100,000 people in my area without power. Some are still without power. I was without power for over 30 hours, but got it back yesterday late afternoon, evening I guess you could say. But I meant to do this a little bit sooner, but obviously I couldn't when I got no damn power. So anyway, I'm going to get into this. I want this to be a 30-minute video. Honorable mention number 1, Ace Frehley. Typical Ace. I mean, Ace Frehley on his own. It's good rock and roll, hard rock. It's not particularly a long album. This is silver. I know there's like 3 or 4 different covers. I've only seen 2. I've seen this one and one where he's leaning back in the chair. There's that. Honorable mentions same band, but I'm going to put them up there because I put 3 in the first. I'll put 3, and that's the band called Haunt. One of the best new bands of 2018. They put out an EP, which is this one called Luminous Eyes. Stickers on the way. It's on some ugly ass Simon Says vinyl, and then the full-length LP, Burst Into Flame. A must-have for 2018 if you don't have it. Their album for this year is actually on pre-order. I think it comes out in May. Alright, there's my honorable mentions. Now I'm going to get into my top 15. A couple of wild cards in here. You know me, I listen to a lot of shit. The first one is what we're actually listening to, and that's a band called Images of Eden. And it's called Soulrise. I always say Soulfire. I got this one autographed by the band. Very Queensryche, Promised Land, Here and Now Frontier sounding, but I love it. I mean, Queensryche, anything Queensryche, cloney, I'm all over it. So the band's called Images of Eden, Soulrise. Next is another wild card, I guess you could say. This came on late in the year, and I absolutely can't get enough of this album. It is hard rock, bluesy, hard rock, a little bit of metal infused solos throughout. Phil Collen of the band Def Leppard, it's actually his band, and he does sing on a couple songs. And this band's called Delta Deep. It features I'm going to forget her name, and yes I am. I'm going to pull it out. It features a singer, her name is Debbie Blackwell Cook. Blues, man. If you like blues, check this album out. It's got a few guest appearances by like David Coverdale on the song. Joe Elliott from Def Leppard does a song. He actually does the cover of Mistreater by Deep Purple. Pretty good. It's not bad. Coverdale, I can barely tell it's him. But the whole album is phenomenal. If you like bluesy, hard rock stuff, if you like bluesy, you will love this album. Delta Deep, self-titled. Next is the vinyl I just got in the mail. I've been listening to it on download forever, but it took forever to get here, along with a couple other ones here. And that's Striker's Play to Win. So I see some people label them as thrash. I think they're power metal, verging on it a little bit. Canadian band, young band. I think this is their, third album. But this is the first one I have on vinyl. I can't remember the name now. The white cover album, and their debut. So yeah, it's 3 albums. I need to find their other albums on vinyl. Stryper, Play to Win. If you're a power metal, thrash metal fan, you'll love these guys out of Canada. And you can find this fairly cheap. It just takes forever to get here. Next, another guy's been around since I think, what is it, 87? I always say his name funny. Impellitter. This is their new album. God. Nature of the Beast. This features Rob Rock again on vocals. Impellitter, he's the guitar player basically, Chris Impellitter. Very Malmsteen-esque. Has that ripping classical sound to it, but it's played fast. This album's fast. The solos, I mean, like the rhythm in here is like solos on this album. It's crazy. Probably one of his best albums in years. Pretty consistent, so it's hard to really say that. Like, he keeps the same formula, and sometimes it's a little heavier. Like, this album seems a little heavier than most, but just the same formula. Like bands like Brainstorm, and bands that don't change their sound, they just maybe mess with it a little bit, but it's always consistently great, and I always find this guy great. Plus he's Malmsteen style guitar, so I'm in right away. Next is a band. I actually got a bunch of Christian metal stuff in here. Y'all gonna survive. A band called Mass, and the album's called When Worlds Collide. I got this one autographed by the band as well. Their best album, I like Sea of Black, but I think this is far better than Sea of Black. I think this is more, this probably is like a follow-up to Voices in the Night, if you know the band. If you don't know this band, you guys really need to check them out. They got really rock job by the label back in the day. Actually, Scott's label is going to be putting out their original album that got shelved. You can only get it on bootleg, I think it's called Fighter. But he's going to be reissuing it actually, so we'll be able to get the real version of it. But check it out. They started off in that hard rock, metal vein, and these guys aren't in Christian metal, by the way. Even though their name's Mass, they are not Christian metal. They get lumped into that because Michael Sweet of Stryper produced the Voices in the Night album. So they got lumped in with that, which is a bunch of bullshit. But great band, awesome cover. Again, artwork, but kind of Dolly-esque. So I definitely advise picking this up if you can. You can buy it from the band directly, fairly cheap, and they'll autograph it for you. I don't know what that, I think they're numbered. Alright, next is one of my, I would say, a surprise album of the year. I like this guy, he's pretty consistent. Gets a little quirky sometimes, but the band is U.D.O. or U.D.O. I don't care, I call him U.D.O., it's just easier. The album's called Steel Factory. I've been listening to this for a while on download. I just got the vinyl in like 2 weeks ago. This took forever to get from Amazon, and the vinyl I got is like a clear purple or violet. But this is the album that should have followed up Metal Heart, in my opinion. This is so Accept, and U.D.O. will always be Accept. I mean, I like Mark in the band, but it's kind of a different band with Mark. Still killer. I mean, their album last year, Rise to Chaos, made my top 10, but that tells you a lot. But U.D.O. will always be Accept, and this brings me back to when I was a kid. That 80s Accept sound. It totally brings out the teenager in me when I listen to this. And this has been on constant play, especially song is In the Heat of the Night. That's like it came off of. That should have been the lead track on this, in my opinion. It would have sounded like just coming off of Metal Heart. Phenomenal album everybody should have this year. And again, these guys are what, 60-something years old, and they're just putting out quality stuff. Next is another bit of a wild card, and that's a band. It's a real wild card because it's an odd situation. But that's a band called Hitten, Twisted Faith. This is their second album. I can't remember if the first one's an EP or not. And they have a new singer on this one. The new singer takes this band to a whole new level, in my opinion. Sorry about the glare. I don't even have lights on. Good. You know, that heavy hair metal sound from the late 80s. I mean, anybody who's a hair metal fan, who's a heavy metal fan, has moments of U.D.O in there I can hear sometimes. If you like the band Leatherheart, or if you never heard the band Leatherheart, you should check them out. Kind of like that. I almost thought it might have been him at first. I had to look up his name because, like I said, he's a new singer. So, but it definitely must have this year. If you're looking for something different, you know, something you never heard of, the band's called Hitten, Hitten, and the album's called Twist of Fate. I think this is a blue vinyl. Alright, here we go. Now, I love the first 2 albums by this band. I'm just going to show you. Anyway, the band's Metal Church. The album's called Damned If You Do. This is their best album with Mike Howe, in my opinion. I do like, I'm going to blank again. Blessing in Disguise with Mike. I think this is a little bit better, and this is a comeback album of sorts for, you know, them. And I guess you can't call it a comeback, but it's a hey, we're still here kind of album, you know. David Wayne will always be my favorite vocalist in Metal Church. I love David Wayne's voice. Mike Howe, you know, came from Heretic on the 3rd album, which I can't remember the name right now. A Blessing in Disguise. Not Hanging in the Balance. The one on the pool table, Human Factor, was pretty good. But this one just blows me away. Again, these guys are, you know, 50 or older again, some of them in the 60s. Just a phenomenal album. The title track, Damned If You Do, I love it. And I got mine from Rat Pack, so it's that cool black. And we got the U.S.O strip. A great album. This is what, number 8 on my list. Pick it up a little bit, guys. My shit don't slide away. Take a drink. Alrighty. What is this one? Number 7. I'm just going to show it and end it because there's nothing to be said about it. Saxon's Thunderbolt. In my eyes, Saxon never put out a bad album. I know a lot of people got weird in the 80s with them. Still like those albums. Crusader, the title track, is one of my favorite Saxon songs of all time. This is really good. It's got some good heaviness to it, you know. Battering Ram kind of had the same feel. I would put this a little bit over that. Probably their best album since Innocence Is No Excuse, which I really like. I would put that up there really high. Obviously, I got a number 7 on my 2015 list. Written right now. Shit's sliding away here. Number 1, I have not seen many people talk about, and that is a band called Alien Weaponry. The album's called Tu, or Q, I don't know how they say it. Half the album is sung in their native New Zealand language, which is Maori, if I remember correctly. But it's still phenomenal. I've seen this band pop up on my suggestion list on YouTube a lot when I'm watching videos. But the name just rung stupid to me. Like I don't like the name, the Alien Weaponry. So I bypassed it. And then one night I'm like, I've seen this so much, I decided to play it. And it was one of their songs that were sung in their native language. Or tribal language. It's like an old school language. And I fell in love with it, so I bought the album. And again, like I said, half of it's sung in English and half of it's sung in Maori, I think it is. And not only that, the band, at the time they recorded this, everybody was 17 years or younger. Don't get me, it might be, they were all teens, I know that. But it's professional, it's ass-kicking. A lot of people are calling it thrash. I call it power, speed, progressive thrash. I mean, it's got all the elements in there. It's even got some slow down parts. But even the songs that aren't in English are fucking killer. I mean, they just hit hard, you know? It's almost like you can understand it without understanding it. They play with a lot of emotion. I guess that's the best way to put it. And I'm running out of time on my vinyl, so Next is a phenomenal. This is this guy's best album ever, in my opinion, and I love Widowmaker. And that's D. Snider's For the Love of Metal. This album shocked the shit out of me. I expect D. Snider to have decent stuff, you know. He worked with the guy. I am bad with names unless I'm not on camera. Jamie something from. I can't even remember the name of the band now. Anyway, one of the modern metal bands, and basically that's his backing band here, and the guy wrote the songs with him. Every album on this thing, every track, I would give this like a 9. There's a couple songs here I'm like, eh. But the title track, For the Love of Metal, and I'm blanking. Oh, what the hell. I know a lot of people hate Running the Mazes, but I actually like it. American Made is the other song here that I love. Again, this is number 5 on my top 15 of. That tells you how much I love this album. And I'm a good, you know, I'm a Twisted Sister fan. I'm a D. Snider fan. His unofficial Desperado band, which you can get on bootleg that I have on CD, was really good too. Of course, Widowmaker was my favorite stuff. His last solo album was pretty soft, not terrible but soft. But this is by far his best ever, even with Twisted Sister, in my opinion. I hope he sticks to this formula. And again, another guy that's he's got to be close to 60. All right, another one that next two are Christian metal bands. So this one comes from Rocks Records, and if you guys don't know this band, you should know this band. The band's called Deliverance, and the album's called Subversive Kind. This is probably their heaviest, in my opinion, since Jesus, my favorite album by them. I can't remember it. Warfare. I can't think of the damn title. Oh well. Their second album, I think it was, is their best album, in my opinion. Why can't I remember the title? I hate when I do that. Anyway, this has got that heavy groove to it. You know, it's more, I don't know if you call it thrash. It's very groove metal to me, you know? Not Pantera-like. Well, I guess you could say a little on the low side of Pantera. But it's Deliverance. You can tell it's Deliverance. This album has been in my constant play crate since I got it, which was almost the beginning of the year, and that tells you a lot right there. I'm trying to think of somebody to compare them to, but it's really hard to compare these guys. They do a little different on every album they really put out. I would probably rank this as their third best album overall, because I do like the debut a lot. So anyway, Deliverance, Subversive Kind, red vinyl. All right, guys. I know a lot of guys, you either love this band or you hate this band. Well, I love this band. This is my top 5 favorite bands, and if you don't like it, I don't care. And that is Stryper, their latest album this year, Goddamn Evil. Not only is this their latest album, I think this is their best album since Soldiers Under Command. I like To Hell with the Devil. It's one of those albums like Theater of Pain to me that they just kind of wrote the stuff to be radio ready, and that always turns me off a lot. Good songs, good album, but that's their most popular album. I'm usually not a fan of the most popular album for some reason. I still think Soldiers is their best, but it's a little bit raw. I wish they would re-record that today. Anyway, it's called Goddamn Evil. The title had a bunch of, you know, crazies up and roar about it because, you know, you can't say goddamn evil because they don't understand what it means. It means goddamn evil, not saying goddamn. But we aren't the smartest people anymore on this planet. Anyway, Stryper, Goddamn Evil. The only song I would give this a 9.5 only because of one chorus on this album, and the song's called Take It to the Cross. They throw some thrash metal sound as the chorus, and it just turns me off every time I listen to it. I can understand if the song was that heavy throughout, it just doesn't make sense to my ears. Other than that, this would be a perfect 10. This is the gold. You can only get it from the band. Yellow, I guess it is not gold because there is a gold press out of 100. You're going to get it from the band's website when they sold it, although it's on Frontiers. These next two won't be a shock. If you know me, I think you may not know which one's going to be 1 or 2, but once you see number 2, you'll see number 1. Number 2 for me is Witherfall's latest, Prelude to Sorrow, not of Sorrow, a Prelude to Sorrow. This album is, it's just, I mean, I literally can't, the debut, last year, which was my number 1 favorite album, there really isn't a whole lot of difference. They kind of kept the same formula. This has a bit more progressive to it, but it's not overdone like Dream Theater. Still, another 10 out of 10 album for me. I really hope they stay with this. This whole album is pretty much dedicated to the drummer who passed away at the end of their first album. There's actually a whole song on here dedicated to him as well. They were really, really dedicated a lot to him, Adam Sagan. So, number 2, Witherfall. You had to see that coming, a Prelude to Sorrow. So guess what number 1 is? Not only is number 1, I think it actually has become my favorite album by the band of all time. I think we all know what I'm going to show, because pretty much all of us have showed it. I have been shocked I've seen lists without this in the top 10. That doesn't make sense to me if you're not a metal fan. Okay, you don't have to give it number 1, but this album has to make every metal fan's number 1. Top 10 list at least. I don't care what you're into, because without these guys, there wouldn't be any of it. And that's Judas Priest, Firepower. One of my all-time favorite bands. This album is a 10 to me. I know not Firepower. Painkiller gets all the rave. I'm sorry, there's some crappy songs on. There's some filler on Painkiller, in my opinion. I don't think there's a filler on this album. Even the end track, the outro track on here, with a Sea of Red, I love that song too. So I'm definitely putting this as my favorite Judas Priest album of all time, and I've been around since the beginning with Judas Priest. Well, almost 79 is when I got into Judas Priest. So I didn't miss much, and I've been through all their changes, all their albums, and even not Angel of Retribution, which was a really good album. I am so bad with titles anymore. The album before this, fuck, I can't remember. I thought it was pretty damn good, and even the bonus tracks you get on there are really good bonus tracks. They weren't like trash tracks in my opinion. But I would rate this just above Painkiller. Although Painkiller's, the song itself is, 1, 2. There's a lot of sentimental things for me with Judas Priest as well, so I will rate tracks higher because of that versus just because it pounds it out. Anyway, guys, there is my top 15, top 30 of 2018.